Lynn always considered herself strong, confident, unstoppable. She had survived family drama, broken hearts, career setbacks, and more Port Charles chaos than most people could imagine. No matter how difficult life became, she always found a way to fight back. But this time, her greatest enemy wasn't another person. It was jealousy, and it was slowly destroying everything she loved. The trouble began innocently enough. At first, Lynn barely noticed the feeling. A passing comment, a lingering glance, a moment of insecurity she quickly pushed aside. But those small moments started adding up. Someone new had entered her world. Someone talented, someone charming, someone who seemed to attract attention wherever they went. The worst part? They were becoming increasingly close to the people Lynn cared about most. At first, she tried convincing herself she wasn't bothered. She told herself she was imagining things. She insisted there was no reason to worry. But deep down, a different emotion was growing. Fear. Fear of being replaced. Fear of losing her place in people's lives. Fear of watching someone else receive everything she believed belonged to her. Those fears quickly transformed into jealousy. And jealousy has a way of changing people. Friends began noticing subtle differences in Lynn's behavior. She became defensive, distracted, suspicious. Conversations that once felt effortless suddenly turned tense. Simple misunderstandings became major arguments. Every interaction seemed to carry hidden meaning. Meanwhile, the person at the center of Lynn's jealousy remained completely unaware. They weren't trying to compete. They weren't plotting against her. In fact, they admired Lynn and hoped to build a friendship. Unfortunately, jealousy doesn't listen to reason. It creates its own reality. As weeks passed, Lynn's frustration intensified. She began questioning motives, analyzing conversations, searching for signs of betrayal. The more she looked, the more convinced she became that everyone was choosing sides, and she didn't like the side they seemed to be choosing. The breaking point arrived during a major event attended by many of Port Charles's most influential residents. The atmosphere was festive, the mood was light, everything should have been perfect. Instead, it became a disaster. Throughout the evening, Lynn watched as attention gravitated toward the person she viewed as her rival. People laughed at their jokes, praised their accomplishments, enjoyed their company. With every passing minute, Lynn felt her emotions spiraling further out of control. Then came the mistake that changed everything. In a moment of anger and desperation, she made a reckless decision. A decision intended to embarrass her rival publicly. A decision she immediately regretted. What began as a small act of sabotage quickly exploded into a massive scandal. Secrets were exposed, accusations flew, relationships suffered collateral damage, and before long, everyone knew Lynn was responsible. The fallout was devastating. Friends felt betrayed, family members were disappointed. People who had always defended her suddenly struggled to understand her actions. For the first time in years, Lynn found herself standing alone. The isolation was crushing. She had spent so much time focusing on someone else's success that she failed to recognize what she was risking: her reputation, her relationships, her future. Most painfully of all, the person she cared about most looked at her differently. Not with anger, not with hatred, but with disappointment. And somehow, that hurt even more. As the consequences continued unfolding, Lynn was forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Her rival hadn't destroyed her life. Jealousy had. The fear, the insecurity, the need to compete, those emotions had guided every bad decision she made, and now she had to live with the results. Yet, even in Port Charles, redemption is never impossible. Slowly, Lynn began taking responsibility. She apologized. She admitted her mistakes. She stopped blaming others for choices that belonged to her. The process wasn't easy. Trust takes time to rebuild. Some wounds heal slowly. Some relationships may never fully recover. But for the first time in weeks, she was moving in the right direction. The experience taught her a lesson she would never forget. Jealousy promises protection, but often delivers destruction. It convinces people they're fighting for what matters, when in reality they're pushing it away. As Port Charles continues reacting to the scandal, one question remains. Can Lynn repair the damage before it's too late? Or has her jealousy permanently altered the course of her life? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the greatest battles aren't always fought against enemies. Sometimes they're fought within ourselves. And for Lynn, that battle may be the most important one she has ever faced.